Hey everyone, in this video I thought I would share how I would go about solving an interesting JavaScript problem, which is implementing Promise.all. I thought this would be a fun exercise to do, and yeah, here we are. So, as you can see, I have prepared some tests. This implementation won't be an exhaustive one. There might be some details that I won't be able to cover because I don't know the actual implementation of Promise.all. So my goal for this video is to make each of these tests to succeed, and yeah, let's see. So I have my tests running here. As you can see, all of them are failing, which is a good sign in the beginning. I'm not going to bother too much with the types. I'm just going to finish things very quickly. Promise is any, and that will get us rid of the type errors that we had initially. Now let's see the first case. This should be a simple one. So if promises, if the given promises array is an empty array, then we could simply end things here. Simply return promise resolve okay, resolve. It's my first time doing live coding, so expect some missing keystrokes. So this test should be successful now, which isn't. Let's try it once again. For some reason it doesn't work. We must provide a promise to expect when using resolve. And I suppose it's weird because I'm returning a promise. I would have expected this to be successful, but for some reason it is not. A promise to expect when using a resolve, not a function. Oh, okay. Sometimes you just have to read the error message, which is a good lesson for me. Let's see. So I'm just going to call my promise all like this. This should make our test successful. Yeah, so this test has passed, which is good news. Now going on to the next one, and this is where things should get interesting. When we're given an array of promises, we must be able to provide or to make our custom implementation of promise.all to return a promise which would result to an array of values, and each value correspond to one of the given promises. So let's see how I would do that. So we know that promise.all will run all of the promises concurrently. So this is my attempt to doing that. So what I want to do is to iterate through all of the promises to invoke them. And then I would simply expect, for example, when one of them resolves, I should be able to save the value, increase a counter so that I know when to stop, because by running each promise concurrently, then I should be able to keep track of the promise that I'm at. And then when all of the promises have resolved, I should be able to resolve a promise with an array containing all of the values. So for that, I'm going to save the length of the promises. So promises count would be promises.length. this will be the counter, which should be 0 in the beginning. And now I'm going to simply iterate through each promise of promises. I'm going to, oh, that wasn't my intention. Okay, then I'm going to await for each promise. I should maybe type this so that so that things are a bit more easier for me. So it would be an array of promises, but each type of the promise could be any, so it is not important for now, but I just wanted to do that so that I can do that then. So now I should be able to get a value, and when a promise resolves, I should be able to increase the counter, and I should be able to add on, first of all, to save the values, and now I should be able to push the new value into the array, into the values array. Okay, at this point we are almost done. We just need to return a promise from my Promise.all function. So for that I'm going to let's say do this. I'm going to create the resulting promise, so resulting or promise result, which would be a new promise. And for now I'm going to need the resolve function from the constructor, but I'm going to need to save that so that when all of the promises have resolved, I know when to resolve this resulting promise. So for that I'm going to save the resolve function. So resolve promise, I'm going to save it here. Resolve promise would be this, and when we have reached the counter, I don't know if this should be, yeah, when the counter is promises count -1, then I know it's time to resolve the promise. So resolve promise with values. Okay, of course we have some problems, which is alright. No, let me type this so that I can get rid of the error. I know this is not the best approach, but I don't want to bother with types right now. They are important, but not for our current situation. So let's check our tests, how they are doing. So yeah, we have the problem that we had previously, meaning that we need to call the function here, not to provide the function that would call the function. So I'm going to call my Promise.all with the given promises. Let me also return the resulting promise, or the promise result. And now I think I forgot to save the test. Okay, no, never mind. So this test is also passing, which is good. Okay, I'm wondering if I would comment out this line if the test will also be successful. No, it is not, which is expected. Yeah, anyway, I was just playing around with this API. It's my first time using vtest or vitest. I think it's vtest. Okay, so this function will actually run the timers, because we here have a timer to simulate a more real scenario, and by calling this function we simply simulate the passing of time. So we don't have to wait 2 seconds for the promise to resolve. We are just able to simulate the time, which is perfect in a testing environment. Okay, so now we have one last test to try, which is to cover for the cases when a promise rejects. So when a given promise rejects, then the entire promise that all should reject. Yeah, okay, so we have one last test to cover. So if a promise would fail, would reject, we need to catch the error, and I guess at this point we can simply reject the promise result, and for that we also need to save the reject function from the promise constructor. So for that I'm going to save the reject promise. I'm going to save it here as well, and reject promise should be this one, and now I can call it here, reject promise with the given error, whatever that may be. And now if we run the test again, yeah, it's passing. So I guess this was it. As you can see, it isn't very complicated, but it was fun. The biggest challenge, or the most interesting part for me, was this part here, when each promise is run concurrently, and as they resolve, I'm keeping track of which promise I'm at, such that when all of them have been resolved, I'm able to resolve the bigger promise, or the result promise. Yeah, so I guess this would be it for this video, and I will see you in the next one.